Histin News Daily is your go-to podcast for a daily dose of history. Each episode dives into significant events, births, and deaths that occurred on this day in history. From pivotal moments in world history to intriguing anecdotes about famous figures, we bring the past to life in an engaging and informative format. I'm Chris Bernard. Stay informed and entertained with new episodes released every day, keeping you connected to history regularly. March 4th has been a significant date throughout history, marking various important events across different eras and fields. Here are 15 detailed events that occurred on this date. The Constitution of the United States goes into effect. On March 4, 1789, the Constitution of the United States came into effect, acting as the supreme law of the United States. It replaced the Articles of Confederation and established the framework for the federal government, including its three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. Vermont was admitted to the United States as the 14th state on March 4, 1791. It was the first state to enter the Union after the original 13 colonies. 1797 John Adams is inaugurated as the second President of the United States. On this day, John Adams succeeded George Washington as President. His inauguration marked the first peaceful transfer of power between presidents in American history. 1829 Andrew Jackson's inauguration riot. The inauguration of Andrew Jackson as the seventh President of the United States was marked by a riot. Thousands of people who attended the open house at the White House caused extensive damage, showcasing the populist nature of Jackson's support. 1861 The first national flag of the Confederacy was adopted. The first national flag of the Confederate States of America, known as the Stars and Bars, was adopted on March 4, 1861, signaling the deepening divide leading to the American Civil War. 1933 Franklin D. Roosevelt's first inauguration. Franklin D. Roosevelt was inaugurated as the 32nd President of the United States during the Great Depression. His famous address included the line, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." 1952 Ernest Hemingway completes The Old Man and the Sea. On March 4, 1952, Ernest Hemingway finished writing The Old Man and the Sea, a novel that would become one of his most famous works, later earning him the Nobel Prize in Literature. 1966 John Lennon's More Popular Than Jesus interview is published. The London Evening Standard published an interview with John Lennon of the Beatles in which he controversially remarked that the band was more popular than Jesus now. This led to widespread protests and record burnings in the U.S. 1977 The Bucharest earthquake. A devastating earthquake struck Romania, particularly affecting the capital, Bucharest, on March 4, 1977. It had a magnitude of 7.4, causing widespread destruction and thousands of deaths. 1980 Robert Mugabe won the Zimbabwean elections. Robert Mugabe's party, ZANU-PF, won the majority of seats in Zimbabwe's first elections following its independence from British colonial rule. Mugabe became the country's first prime minister. 1986 The Soviet Vega 1 begins returning images of Halley's Comet. The Soviet spacecraft Vega 1 started sending back images of Halley's Comet on its mission, providing invaluable data about its nucleus and environment. 1994 The Church of England ordains its first female priests. On March 4, 1994, the Church of England ordained its first female priests, marking a historic change in the Church's 460-year history. 2001 The Hintes Ribeiro disaster. The Hintes Ribeiro bridge collapse occurred in Portugal, leading to the deaths of 59 people. The disaster highlighted the need for improved infrastructure maintenance. 2010 The 2010 Chile earthquake triggers a tsunami. A massive 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Chile, leading to a tsunami warning across the Pacific and causing significant damage and loss of life. 2012 Vladimir Putin wins the Russian presidential election. Vladimir Putin won the Russian presidential election on March 4, 2012, securing his third term as president amidst widespread protests and allegations of electoral fraud. These events, spanning a range of fields including politics, literature, and natural disasters, reflect the complexity and diversity of human history as it unfolded on March 4 across different years. Uncover lesser-known facts and intriguing anecdotes about historical events and figures that may surprise and inspire you. By engaging with history on a daily basis, you'll develop a stronger connection to the world and its rich tapestry of events and personalities. You can find Histin News Daily on popular podcast platforms like Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Subscribe today to start your journey through history, one day at a time. I'm Chris Bernard. Thank you for listening to our daily Today in History podcast. Remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on YouTube for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and discussions about history's impact on our world today. Be sure to tune in tomorrow and find out more today in history.